Hinivu, I am Jeruta Purity from Kenya Red Cross Society, representing Elgeyo Marakwet branch, and my COVID-19 related problem was on teenage pregnancies, whereby there was a drastic increase in numbers of teenage pregnancies in my community. These teenage mothers were subjected to stigma by the local communities. I therefore studied the needs of the teenage mothers as well as the teenage girls because they were the population at the risk. Later, I would formulate a community-based intervention whereby community members would be trained and sensitized in focus group discussions, what is locally known as community barasas, on the needs of the teenage mothers. This would reduce the risks of teenage pregnancies and as well would advocate for the needs of the teenage mothers. My prototype testing journey was fun, it was challenging, it was full of learning experiences. So after receiving my prototype testing funds, the first thing I did was I called a key stakeholder meeting, which involved the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Interior, civil society organizations, personnel, such that this group of people would help me identify one community which had the largest numbers of teenage pregnancies, of course among the many, such that I would do my prototyping at. After getting accurate statistics, I went to the field together with my team of 5 volunteers who had expertise in the same field and conducted focus group discussions with 4 groups of people. So we conducted FGDs with the teenage boys. We also were able to talk with teenage girls as well as teenage mothers, all on separate occasions. These teenagers were from Litei Secondary School, which is a mixed secondary school in Marakwet West. The reason we chose Marakwet West was because it had the largest numbers of teenage pregnancies in the whole county. We were also able to talk with, to have an FGD with community members from Kapsomai location, and also were able to talk to have key informant interviews with the key personnel in the community, who are the school heads, the hospital heads, as well as the chiefs. From the FGDs, we were able to gather information on the social, economic, and educational impacts of teenage pregnancies on the teenagers, on their families, as well as on the community. We were also able to assess the sexual reproductive health services for the teenagers in this community, and this would inform the design of our project, which aim at reducing the risks of teenage pregnancies in the community, as well as advocating for the needs of teenage mothers. On analyzing our data, we realized that there were a lot of gaps in the community on matters teenage pregnancies as well as sexual and reproductive health. So first and foremost, we found out that there were ignorance from the relevant stakeholders as well as the parents on the rate at which the teenagers were, on the alarming rate at which teenagers were becoming pregnant. We also realized that there were inadequate sexual reproductive health services for the young people. And on this note, we realized that Keyo South was the only sub-county which had a functional youth-friendly health facility, while the rest of the sub-counties were not functional. This explained the difference in the numbers of teenage pregnancies between the 4 sub-counties, whereby Keyo South had the least numbers of teenage pregnancies. We also realized that there were inadequate life skills among young people, which would be able to help them tackle their mental health, their sex health, as well as to be able to sustain their livelihood.
So you see, if these girls, especially the girls, are exposed lack of something, and I can provide, I can easily lure her to do this kind of, to have an affair, to have a relationship. Do you hold relationship? This one actually, it's not even an affair, just a casual sort of. Yeah. So at the end of the day, if you are talking, if you are a motorbike rider or you are a bodaboda rider, you have got the upper. You see the one you are giving us an example.